Yo, what's goody, man? Sideline Story Podcast. Mobile B8mill. This is SideQuest with B8mill, episode 4, man. I appreciate you for pulling up, B-mill. What's going on up there,
Good,
man?
man. Good, man. Thanks for having me on for another run, man. Appreciate it.
Already. So we got 4 topics for y'all today. We're gonna get into these real quick. We're gonna be get y'all up out of here. LeBron James reached the 40,000 mark, man, in his career, man. Immediate reaction real quick. What's going on?
Man, well, I was watching the game when he had hit the milestone, not the little milestone, the big boy milestone, and I was just like, man, like I think I had like hit you up and like he just gonna keep like compiling pretty much unreachable stats. Like
Mm-hmm.
that's what longevity looked like right there. I mean, when you could be great but keep playing great for so long. So it's a big shout out to him, man, just for being able to play that long, pretty much almost injury free. Man, it's insane. So big shout out to the LBJ for the 40K.
I guess the next question everybody gonna pose is somebody gonna surpass that? And I was talking to somebody. I was telling them I don't think people really understood understand what has to take place in order for you to surpass a milestone like this. The thing about LeBron is when I looked up all of the numbers, he has 15 seasons with a minimum of 62 games played. So what that means is the durability is that's kind of the highest you could ever get, unless you like Karl Malone, Iron Man or something like that. But other than that, LeBron is pretty consistent, and he also has 9 seasons from playing October to June. The 10th season, it was 10, but I forgot you got the bubble doesn't count because of the big hiatus in between.
Yeah.
But like 9 seasons from playing from October to June, 15 years playing 62 games or more. Since he joined the Lakers, the numbers is kind of low because he did have a few injuries, and like I said, the bubble was in there in between time too. But I'm looking at that's kind of a hard ask for anybody. It's kind of like the you got like Kobe, LeBron. They come in, they trying to surpass Jordan. Well, I don't know if LeBron was, but I know Kobe was for sure. You want those 6 championships or more or equal to. So this is kind of like asking somebody to come in and asking them to pass 40K. It's kind of equivalent to the 6 rings. In my that's kind of how I look at it. A player that's coming in, can they surpass this 40K? I feel like that's equivalent to 6 rings in a sense because you really have to have a lot go right in your career. Like in order for Mike to win 3, he did 2 3-peats. A lot had to go right. They had to be healthy. They had to, go up against these tough teams like the Indiana Pacers in the Eastern Conference, the New York Knicks in the Eastern Conference. LeBron, he had to go up against a lot of tough teams like the Big Three in Boston, the Dwight Howard-led Orlando Magic. He had a lot of tough teams he had to play, the San Antonio Spurs in Cleveland and in Houston. This is like long runs, man. Like you said, it's the longevity factor. So yeah, I think that's dope. But as far as somebody surpassing it, I don't think nobody will be able to surpass that. To be honest.
Mm, I think probably so. They probably not born yet, but probably so. Reason why I think so. So like what you were saying, like the Karl Malones, like back then in them days, there was a few. It was some of those players who would play like out of 82 games, they would hit a few of those milestones. Michael was probably one of those two who had like a good run of playing like a minimum of like 80 games. So maybe it'll probably be a long time, maybe another 30 years, something like that, 40 years. But if because a lot of what LeBron is able to do is because of a lot of it is just the evolution. So at one point, you had Kareem playing up to a certain level in a period of time. Then you fast forward 30, 40 years, you got LeBron. I'm sure in another 30 or 40 years, if the game still exists the way it exists, there'll be another evolved person. Because if we're supposed to be evolving as like a person, so you'd imagine in 30, 40 years, technology will be better. Somebody will be physically just more gifted, but it'll just be one of them rare things. And when that person is doing it, we're gonna think about LeBron. So I think it will be happening just because of simple nature of we supposed to be evolving still. So
Mhm. So if you could project like this is where he'll stop at, you got like a number in mind?
like as far as his scoring,
Yeah.
I think he'll play. I think he'll play 2 more seasons. So whatever averages out to about, he'll probably finish out averaging over 20 points a game for the next couple seasons, 23 to wherever he is at right now, just with like some marginal decrease. And so whatever he's able to do within like this season, just probably take off maybe 100 or 200 points. So, but he gonna still keep going though, because I think he gonna still keep playing. I think he got a couple more years to keep adding to that number and really put that number another 30 or 40 years down the line before anybody get to touch it.
I think the thing about his game too that people got to realize, it's a testament to his greatness for sure. But LeBron he's not falling off a cliff. You know what I'm saying? A lot of the
At all.
Yeah, a lot of the greats, you will see like a 10-point dip, 12-point dip in their numbers.
Yeah.
Especially around this age, even if they even make it to this age. A lot of people don't even make it to, 38, 39 years old. It's like the averages is still kind of like the norm, kind of like, what is it, 25 a game now?
Yeah, he probably still around 25 a game. He probably gonna be right around that until he hang it up, And that's another player too. If we look at a recent memory, look at Vince Carter. Like Vince Carter had like a crazy run when like he was like a role player for like a long period of time. Like, but he kept playing. He played so long that Vince Carter is probably top 20 in everything. He probably, for all major stats, he probably top 20 just because he spent the last 5 years averaging like 11, 12 points a game. Then you fast forward that to like a LeBron who's going to be able to add 10 more points to that per game for like at least the next couple of years. So it's crazy to see that man going to be like 42 years old, averaging over 20 points a game.
Mm. Real quick, I seen something on the Bill Simmons podcast. LeBron and I think Rich Paul, they might be looking for an extension.
Yeah,
like a little 3-year joint. As a Laker fan, how you feeling about that?
See, he's still playing. He's still playing at that. As far as what he can contribute, he's still playing. Like, because if you look at LeBron not being there, then you need somebody else to kind of fill in all of them stats of what he does. So, as long as he can still playing, he's still gonna be worth whatever money it is, So, I think it's only right to give him an extension because he's still playing. He still want to play. He's still healthy enough to play, and he's gonna still be able to contribute. Like, even if he tail off some, it's still gonna be. He's gonna be a top 20 player, top 15 player until. So even though I don't love LeBron, I can't knock the contributions, which I appreciate. We just need some more wins to go with that.
I think I'm kind of on the other side of that respect, and I mean that's what all due respect, because it's like I feel like as far as the talent that they're able to amass, I feel like they kind of reached the peak. I feel like D'Angelo Russell, he may have played himself into some more money. I don't know if that'll be what y'all. I'm pretty sure he'll test the open market. He'll probably get more money, especially if he could somehow turn his playoff narrative around. Austin Reeves, I feel like he's kind of like middle of the pack. He's a pretty good player. Rui Hachimura, I thought he was gonna take another another leap in his game. But I don't really see it.
Insane.
Shout out to Rui though. He hit a parlay last night. Shout out to him anyway. But Anthony Davis, on the other hand, it's like he had an eye contusion last night. Hope everything works out with him. But it's like,
let's hope his eyes all right. Hopefully he can see good this morning.
Yeah, I feel like he kind of is who he is at this point. And I just feel like they kind of reached that peak with this particular group. Now they'll probably be if they don't creep in for a playoff spot, they'll probably be in the play-in tournament. Hopefully they can get in, because I think they'll be fun to watch. Everybody love to watch LeBron, AD, and the boys go at it, man. But I feel like at this point, the Lakers are kind of scared like to rip that Band-Aid off as far as like moving on into the next phase. I don't know if that's an AD-led team or what they'll do of that nature. But I don't know how I am as far as them extending him though.
Yeah. Well, the thing is, like, you really can't do nothing with the next phase because you don't got no draft picks.
No assets, right?
Even if LeBron leave, you're just gonna have. You still probably got some type of cap issues, even if you're off the books. So you don't really got much within the next couple of years. So if he just still playing for the next couple of years, you get to still fill them tickets. You get to compete probably championship window has probably been over with. But you get to stay within relevance for a couple of years while them picks start to come back around again. So
That's a
by
good
the
way.
time he's out in a couple of years, you'll be able to get those picks again. So if you're going through a couple of years where you ain't good and you losing, then you could move AD, get some draft picks. And so it's a good plan for the next couple of years for him to rock it out, because by the time he leave out, the Lakers books will be a little bit more clear, so they can go through that downtime of losing the next couple of years, and hopefully by that time, generate another couple of stars. So I think it's right in line with what they got going on as far as their business part of it.
Right. So with that being said, LeBron has kind of like been at the helm of like the NBA as far as like being the face for as long as we can remember, man. He's been in the NBA for like half of my life. You know what I'm saying? That's crazy. He's always been like that face, the one everybody looked to. Like Pat Bev said when it was time to go to the bubble. If King James said we playing, we playing. You know what I'm saying? So it's like he's always been the one that we look to. And I remember when Michael Jordan, his last All-Star game, I believe it was in 03. And he was saying, I leave the game in good hands. And I looked at all the players that was in the line right there. You saw guys like the T-Macs, the Kobe's, the Shaqs, the Dirks, the Duncans, the KGs, the Paul Pierces, the Jason Kidd, Steve Francis, like that particular lineup. And actually, the NBA actually moved on seamlessly within the era because there was so much talent around. And hypothetically speaking, say LeBron was to do the exact same thing, like his last All-Star game. It's a line of players. You see like the Jokers, the Giannis's, the Embiid's, the Lucas, the SGAs, the Ant-Mans, the Tatums. Who could you see assuming that mantle is the next face of the NBA?
I think that one is I think it's an easy one though, but I'm interested to hear what you would say first though, because I think this one is, for me, I think it's an easy one, but based on like our kind of conversations, I'm curious to see what name you would pull out, because I got like a real easy name.
Honestly, surprisingly, I haven't actually came up with a name, because when I think of the face of the NBA, I think it's LeBron was more of an ambassador for the game too. It's like when it came to like things that didn't have to do with the NBA, like maybe like from a political aspect or just things going on like the Black community, stuff like that. I feel like people still like look to him and what he was able to do for the community in certain aspects. And I'm trying to find somebody of that nature in the NBA. I kind of just don't really see it. I guess the next face of the NBA would probably just be the face of the NBA, not like that ambassador role. You know what I'm saying? I had a hard time coming up with a name like that. The name that I think of was like Ant-Man. I love Anthony Edwards. He a great personality, but the responsibility of like being the face of the league, that's like a big ask. You know what I'm saying? Like LeBron, him and his camp was just so polished from day one. I even remember the press conference when everybody came in. They had all the Nike gear on, because he just got the sponsorship. And yeah, like they were so polished from day one. Like just looking at them 18-year-old kids, he up there handling himself so well, being asked these tough questions about his media at the time. And I'm like, he hasn't missed a beat since then. He had a flawless career. Only thing that you could probably put his finals record. That's probably the only thing in the way he joined Miami. Other than that, it's pretty much a flawless career. Like it was amazing. I'm trying to think who can really like be that guy to really have like no blemishes from this point on. I can't come up with a name.
I got an easy name for you.
Holla at me.
Steph Curry, man.
The problem with Steph is, see, I'm gonna need you to like think from a different perspective on that, because Steph is finna be 36. So he kind of like he at the back end of his prime as well. He's still playing at an extremely high level. But I'm thinking of like more of the youngins though. Because when LeBron leaves, Steph gonna be right behind him. KD gonna be right behind him. You know what I'm saying? I'm thinking like the SGAs, the Lucas, the Bookers, the Tatums, the Ant-Mans, that crop right there.
The problem with that group is half of them is half of those players is foreign. The best players is foreign. Outside of like maybe Tatum and Ant-Man. The problem with that when you talk about like LeBron speaking, like they're not from this country, so the politics that go on here, they don't know or have to care much about. So in certain aspects, they just can't lead probably the way you think, probably off the floor as far as like speaking up about certain things, because the stuff that go on in this country don't affect them much. So like an easy one would be Jokic. He's the best player and the most accomplished. Because I think you can't. I don't think you can be like the face of the NBA if you're not accomplishing things and one of the best players. So like an Ant Man, I think Ant Man, he probably got the personality, the game, but probably nothing else. They haven't won much yet. Um, it's Minnesota, don't got a lot of history of been able to win. So for him, he got to start collecting accolades. So the reason why I say I would have said Curry because just because of that transition from when LeBron leave. Uh, After he leaves, it won't, like you kind of saying, it won't be a clear one. So I think Curry will hold it down because he'll simply be the most accomplished and most notable player in the NBA at that point. Once LeBron leaves out the league, Curry becomes the one that got all the rings and current players pretty much. KD's personality don't seem to be for it though. One person I think the NBA do seem like they want to push for it is but he can't seem to win enough is Devin Booker. I think the NBA be getting behind Devin Booker with a lot of stuff, but he can't seem to win. Tatum too. So I think like out of that group of Tatum or American players, out of Tatum and who else? And Ant Man, I think out of probably those two, whoever can start piling up the accolades and win and kind of push themselves to the forefront, I think that'll be the player. Will it be one of them? I don't know. I think they both in position in their careers where they starting to ascend and put together those statistics, but that's a lot of stats to start piling up, and those is big shoes to fill. Had a microphone in your face, and your tweets mattering now the most. So we'll see. But hopefully, after LeBron leave, it'll be a couple of years after that where like Curry and the KDs will be the faces for a little while, and hopefully somebody else start emerging.
Maybe I'm putting too much on the situation. I think you being more fair than I am as far as like just basketball, because Mike wasn't really into anything outside of basketball like that, other than his love of baseball. When it came to politics, I know it was like it was a big fiasco on him not getting behind. I think it was a certain guy like in the South. I guess they want him to stand behind him, but he just really focused on basketball. This was like back in the '90s though. I just remember seeing that from The Last Dance. I don't got too much info on that, but that's neither here nor there. But
Michael at the time, man, Michael was. Well, I think the times were different though, but Michael was just so notable. Like, and then the shoe with it. So the off the court stuff is like the shoe, and I think just his popularity alone. It's like, hey man, you the face, man. Whether you talk about stuff or not, you the face. But kind of the same thing with LeBron. But I think LeBron took on. It's a different time, different era, different ways of communicating now.
right.
Social media and stuff that you say. So LeBron was just born into a different type of time where he could be that type of leader and for the community and all of that stuff that kind of come with it though. But the NBA is gonna keep revolving, so it's definitely gonna be another person. It just might not be able to see through it right now, but somebody gonna pop through.
I guess the thing with Mike though, when you saw him, he was like he was clean cut, had a good team behind him. Everybody knew his parents. You know what I'm saying? Nike did very well by him, and he was very accomplished. And then you look at LeBron, clean cut, same chick since high school, got the same team around him. Everybody know his mother. It's like Cleveland. It's like Ohio was his for the most part. You know what I'm saying? So I guess it's like those two. When you look at them, you just kind of see perfection in a sense, as far as how they carry themselves, how they carry their brand, everything. And both very accomplished players. I guess the next phase just may have to just really be the face of the NBA, just that alone, stand alone in that, and not have anything else on the outside attached to them. So, with that being said,
one more name out. I think Lillard would be a good name out there too. Lillard, he's pretty He speaks well. He seems to be pretty in tune to kind of what's going on. He might not have like all the accomplishments, but he kind of got the personality. And I know he tucked away in Milwaukee right now, but he's somebody that I think got a good following of people behind him too. As far as
You the face though?
just somebody that's I wouldn't say the face. I would say somebody that's more or less that'll speak. You know, somebody that
Oh yeah, for sure.
speak and people kind of listen and that's kind of like in tune with the community. And I think he's one of those names too. Even like a Kawhi and Paul George, you know, I think like they professionals and they might not be the people that speak, but I can look at them as far as being like good role models or good people that people could kind of look to in the meantime as well.
I guess the three names that you could come away with is Anthony Edwards, Devin Booker, and Jason Tatum. Those are the three names because Wemby, and we'll talk about him in a little bit. Wemby, he's just not getting in. So I don't want to I won't put too much pressure on Wemby or like just put that title in, throw that title his way just yet. I do feel like he's going to accomplish a ton, but like I said, he's just getting started. Zion, as far as like being the face of the NBA, I feel like he had, and we'll talk about him in a second too. I feel like he has the potential, but I don't know if that's something that he's ready to not assume, but match just yet. So I guess we could this something we just might have to let this one play out, to be honest. We might have to
I
let
feel
this
like it will be something that kind of plays out.
So next we got four players. We kind of want to see where they're at right now and what the future could hold. First player, we're gonna start with my guy, LaMelo Ball out of Charlotte. Now, when I look at the Charlotte Hornets, they only produced 8 All-Stars, and this is from the inception. This is like a 90s franchise. They were an expansion team in the 90s. They haven't won 50 plus games since 1998. That's kind of alarming. And I believe it was a couple of years ago that me and you actually had a conversation about them. And that'll be something dope to do one day. One day we could kind of go back and look at teams, look at their drafts, see who they took and who they probably could have gotten. We did that with the Hornets one day, but I can't remember. It's kind of what you said. Sometimes, even though you get high draft picks, the player that you want may not necessarily fall to you, and the player that you take, he may be the best available. Or sometimes you could just reach for a player, and he doesn't pan out. A lot respectfully, Adam Morrison. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. They had a lot of misses. I feel like the big players that they got in our generation is like LaMelo and Kemba. I feel like Kemba panned out. I think it's safe to say Kemba did pan out. You know, he got a couple of bags from them. Only thing is, Kemba played in the tough Eastern Conference, and unfortunately, Charlotte isn't a free agent destination. They couldn't really draft well around him. I believe the best player they may ever gave Kemba was Al Jefferson, like in the middle of his prime, like an Al. And I like Big Al, but but to LaMelo, he's played 57 games, 75 games, which is his career high, 36 games. In this season, he's only played 22 games. The problem with LaMelo is not his talent. You know, won't nobody ever question his talent. I feel like he hasn't reached his ceiling. The problem is the injuries. I believe they say they're committed to LaMelo, but if he continues to get hurt, like what could this look like? You know, because it's looking like him and Lonzo, man. It's just they just can't shake this injury bug for whatever reason. You know, how you feeling about what's going on so far?
Well, with him, of course, I'm a big fan of LaMelo. A lot of little brothers that come up after the big brothers because they just come with so much like talent because they done had so much time to watch, so they just naturally got the personality, and that's what he looked like. He looked like a little brother that watched the bigger brothers go through everything. He just come back out of behind them with all the skill, all the physical tools, looking like all of that. With him, of course, the injuries though. But one thing I will say about the injuries is it ain't he hasn't taken like major injuries. It's kind of like the same ankle. I mean, you don't want that to be an issue either, because you can have chronic ankle injuries too. You've seen with Steph early on in his career, and then he had to kind of get that fixed too. But since it's not like a major issue, I'm just hoping it's something that over time that he can correct, something that somebody can get to on whatever medical attention that he can, because it seemed to be like a reoccurring issue. It's not like he's tearing his Achilles, or he's blowing out his ACLs, or he's having quad issues or something crazy. He just having these bad ankle sprains. And I know somebody who, I don't play no NBA, but I know spraining your ankle could just be something that it just kind of keep happening. Could just keep happening. But for him, is the period of time that he's out. Like, once it could be the same thing, but then he's missing weeks, a couple of months, and those big chunks out the season. Melo might go down a couple of times in the season, and when he's playing and when he's healthy, you could see the potential with the team. You could definitely see that they need more, but when he's out there, he's a big impactful player. Kid is looking like a triple double player. He's looking like a star player. Like him, he's somebody that I look like that could kind of be like a face of the NBA. He seemed to got like more like a modern personality. He's kind of relatable. I mean, I know he don't seem probably all political like when he speak, but I feel like it's a place for his way of communicating. I feel like a lot of people can connect with him, but I just want to see if he can just get over that injury. Whether it's something that he got to do as far as strength and conditioning with his body, because he's still young. He's tall too. Maybe it's a more commitment to strength and conditioning to get that part of his body more in order. But I think I'm more concerned about them continuing to bring in talent, because kind of like you said over what you were saying about like the draft picks though, like that's just tough luck. Like if you ain't picking first, you kind of like, it's a crapshoot at that point if you ain't getting the number one player. Because if you're not picking first, that means you're not getting all the options to pick. And a team like the Hornets, they needed to have all the options a couple times. It's kind of tough. We see AD go one, like, man, you get two, but look at the drop off between AD and Michael K. Gilchrist. That's a huge drop off between picking one and two. So he was like, well, was he the second best player available? Probably. In a lot of people's eyes at the time, he probably was, but the best player probably was 6-7 picks down with Lillard or something like that. You might have been better off. But who would know to take that? Who would know to pull Lillard from 6 and grab him at number 2? So I think it's a lot of bad luck. But I do think they got like a nice little foundation with him. And I think they drafted a couple other decent people. I think the big man is pretty talented. I think Mark Williams is a pretty good piece. So hopefully Michael's out of there now. So it'll be a different voice and a different way of doing business. And maybe that was a problem, because before then it didn't work. So
I like Brandon Miller too.
I like Brandon Miller. I can't believe Nick Wright was talking Scoot for so damn much over Brandon Miller, but that was never going to be a good option. Even if Scoot was better than what he is right now, which is who was on my list too. But I think they got rid of Gordon Hayward. They done some things to kind of look in the right direction, So hopefully over the next couple of years they could start to turn it in a different direction for once. But sure.
Let's go Kay Cunningham.
Yeah.
I actually like Kay, tall point guard.
For a reason.
Yeah, I like Kay. The problem with Detroit is we've actually seen them have like a history of winning, from the bad boy era to the Chauncey Billups, Rip Tayshaun Sheet, Big Ben. That era, they had some success. They made the playoffs not too long ago. I believe it was like Blake Griffin. That team they was on.
First round.
Since then, it's kind of been like it's been a horror story. They did get Cade number 1 overall. That draft wasn't too crazy from what I remember. Cade is actually he's actually a good point guard. And the thing that I look for in like young players is from a statistical standpoint, are you making the leaps every year? So in points, Cade is average 17, 19, and 23.
Yeah, 23 right now.
You see a leap. In assists is 5.6, 6.2, 7.5. And you see a leap in his dimes. He's actually a good free throw shooter, hovering around the mid 80s. He's a kind of a low to mid level 3-point shooter. I believe it's 35% from three right now. In games played, 64. He played 12 because he had the season injury last year, and he currently he's played 56 games this year. The problem with the Pistons is it's kind of the same issue that the Hornets have. It's like you always got a high draft pick, but they can never seem to just land a player that they may need, and they have to take, like we say with the Hornets, like the best available. But recently, like guys like Jaden Ivey, Kay Cunningham, the youngster Jalen Duren, who's looking like he's a walking double-double. I actually like what they're doing. It's just the problem is the Eastern Conference is just so top heavy, and the Hornets have had this problem too, because you got like you got the Bucks, you got the Sixers, you got the Knicks. Now the Pacers look like they'll be a problem, led by Tyrese Halliburton, and it's a lot going on at the top part of the Eastern Conference. I'm kind of concerned just a little bit of what you said about LaMelo as far as the ability to put talent around Cade. To be honest with you, I even heard it's possible that they could probably trade him and try to like rebuild it a little bit too. I don't think that's a horrible option. I just couldn't see I just don't know where he could go right now. Maybe there are some teams out there, I think the Spurs should be in line for a point guard. I'm hearing Trae Young. I don't know how Cade and Wemby fit together, because Cade is I feel like he's more of a scorer for sure, but he can down too. But how you feel about Cade's situation?
Well, Cade. Well, I think the opposite. I think he's more of all around player than mostly a scorer though. I think he got a good amount of playmaking to him.
Yeah, he do.
Well, with the Pistons, I think theirs is. I say they're a little worse than with the Hornets. I think the Hornets are just a little more unfortunate, unlucky, and I think the Pistons just they've taken overlap of talent. So we got Cade, we got Ivy, also got Sir Thompson.
Thompson.
At some point, you can do it, especially when there's drafts where like there's no clear cut players after the first couple players. You could have not taken a Sora. You probably could have not taken Jaden. Maybe you took players that were better fits for the team. Maybe they don't come with the same type of accolades. But between those three players alone, you got three players that's mostly. K is probably the best shooter, but still not the greatest out the bunch. But K just want to kind of get to the hoop. Or Sir Thompson just kind of want to get to the hoop. They kind of do most of their damage with the ball in their hand and at the rim. So you already got to overlap of that. You can always say, well, we just want to acquire talent. Talent can be moved later on. Yeah, you can go that way too. K reminds me a lot of Shai Gilgeous-Alexander earlier on in his career, where he had a lot of talent, but he was just in bad teams. Shai was on bad teams with the Clippers. Then he started out on bad teams with the Thunder too. But you can kind of see that he could play. And
he made the playoffs with the Clippers. They lost against Golden State. It actually was a very entertaining team.
I think they had like Lou Will and the
and actually he made the playoffs with the Thunder too, because that's when they traded for Chris Paul, and they were supposed to rebuild it.
Mm-hmm.
They actually made the bubble, and they actually made the playoffs in the bubble, because I think they played for the first round. So yeah, he got a little experience on this.
He had some good runs in him before he kind of became who he is now, as far as the team got a lot better around him. So I think early on, K got one of the reasons why I mentioned K is because I don't think a lot of people really talk about K, because he's playing on Detroit. So, and I think he is pretty talented as far as what he can do. But it do look like it's a situation where, kind of like Shai, where he can be moved in the future, because he'll just be a lot further along than the team is at the time. Kind of similar to in a different regards of what Shea was going with the Clippers. The Clippers feel like they could just they're ready to roll now championship, so they can move you as opposed to like a K. His individual talent might be. I mean, of course he's still young, but Detroit is they in a rough spot. So I mean, he is a bright. They got some bright spots there, but I just think they just drafted. They just did some. I wouldn't have drafted the way they drafted. I just wouldn't have. To me, Jaden Ivey and Osoro Thompson, even though those players that I like, they weren't must haves on the team, especially what they provide on the team is kind of overlapping. I wouldn't have felt like I had to have Jaden Ivey or I had to have Osoro Thompson. I probably would have took somebody that's maybe a better pick, a better fit, or you trade the pick, but you could all like I said earlier, you could always acquire talent and move it later. Maybe that was the plan, but on the court, you see what it becomes on the court. There's 20, 30 losses in a row, so that's what that talent has pretty much gotten them so far. But I like Cade, and hopefully Cade is moved at some point and have a chance to put his talents towards like winning.
The next player, Zion. Um, so with Zion, it's more of a durability thing. Because whenever I'm talking about Zion, I bring your point up that you made, and I feel like that was that was the one right there. You said the problem with Zion is not that him getting hurt is the problem, is that when he does get hurt, he doesn't come back. And that always stuck with me because I thought that was very true. And if you look at his games played, it's 24 games, 61 games, 29 games, 56 games. In 21, 22, he actually didn't play the whole season. But
Foot.
right now, it's looking like he may have a career high in games played this year. Um, my issue with Zion is from a point standpoint, is like I made with K. I like to see progression each year to year. The thing with Zion is and I haven't really been able to hone in on the Pelicans due to my work schedule, but I saw he's averaging like 5 rebounds this year, and I was looking at that. I'm like, that's kind of crazy because he had 2 seasons where he averaged 7 rebounds a game. I feel like that player with this type of talent, with that type of knack for finding the basketball, and a knack for a lot of activity around the rim, I feel like that's kind of alarming. And he's averaging 22 points per game now. Him averaging 22 points per game isn't necessarily a bad thing because I love that big three. I feel like in the playoffs, trying to put them out, good luck with that. You know what I'm saying? I feel like that's going to be a hard team to take down with the experience and the offense that they do have. But I feel like he has yet to really peak the way we thought he was going to peak. If I'm thinking like coming out of Duke, I feel like the ceiling of Zion Williamson has to be like 28 points per game, 9 rebounds per game, getting to the line 8 times a game. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that. Maybe a block or two a game, block and a half a game. How you feeling right now? Because he has shown good stride. He actually made the All-Star game. He finished top 3 in the Rookie of the Year vote. I think he got some Most Improved Player awards or nominations in there too. So I feel like even though he hasn't shown us final form Zion, I feel like he has shown us moments of what we think he could be.
Well, I just was me and my homies been texting probably the last few days because he been balling out lately. So my
Mm-hmm.
homies been like, man, Zion, he just beat the Clippers. He had a big game. I was just watching him last night or a couple of nights ago. I was just watching him play. I think they pulled out another big win. So even though his statistics is down, two things is happening that's almost like an improvement over the stats. First one is healthy for now, which is huge. Another one looked like he lost some weight, and the third one, the biggest one, is they winning. Like they got one of the best records in the West. So
Cares all.
yeah. So when Zion was early on, he was jumping all over the place and actually playing. His numbers was through the roof though, but they were still losing. They were still losing, and then he ended up getting hurt. So maybe some of his production scaled back a little bit. Maybe it's keeping him a little bit more healthier. Maybe he's not trying to do as much. And another thing that's happened too, he's been out for so long, the team has progressed around him. So he's more or less fitting into what they've been able to develop. So it's not like him just being the main focus anymore. So all the role players that's around him, still got the CJs and still got Ingrams. Like even though he's been in and out of the Jose Alvarados, all of these role players that's been around, that's been getting more minutes and time since he's been out, and they've been able to put together wins. Now he kind of just fits into more of a winning situation though. So I'm not mad at the numbers going down. If it's going to result in winning and health, because he's still young enough to where his numbers can go back up. You know, he's still young enough as long as he can just keep his body healthy and underweight. I feel like he's still got the talent to get back to those numbers if need be. But right now, man, I forgot what the record was, but the record is looking good though. So right now, I'm liking with Zion and someone, because I think I was kind of out on him at one point. Still to a degree, I don't love it. I think he's more of a nice idea. You know, he's a nice thought, a 6'6" player that could be 280 and just jump all over the place. It sounds good, but once you really start thinking about not being able to shoot, the way the game is played, you know, it's not he's not the, for somebody that's that big. The defense is not, you know, I feel like he kind of tailed off a bit as far as defense. I don't see the athleticism going towards that part of the floor either. So to me, he's more of I won't say a gimmick, but I think he's more of was a nice idea, and it looked good when we were seeing it at its peak or what it could look like. But when it fell off and it tailed off, I don't really think anybody was kind of surprised. It's damn near unrealistic, kind of like the other counterpart, the other dude we're gonna talk about later, kind of like damn near unrealistic. But hopefully he can still stay healthy for the sake of not so much what he could be individually, but how good that team could be with him playing the way he's playing.
To answer your question, they 41-26.
Yeah,
They 7-3 in the last 10 games. So, like I said, asking them, trying to beat them in the playoffs, man. Good luck with that. I think that's gonna be tough to do, but I definitely think Zion has a promising future. I would hope so. Real quick before we move on, do you think he remains in New Orleans?
I think right now, yeah, because
Right
now they're winning, and he's healthy. So right now, there's not much need to kind of make any change. There's no big controversy. It ain't like he's out. So if it ain't broke at the moment, shoot, keep it going.
Now we're gonna get the last one for the career projections. Scoot Henderson, drafted by the Portland Trailblazers, number 2, last draft. We got 11 field goal attempts for 37 field goal percentage. He's hit 1 3 a game, out 4 attempts for 29% from 3. 82% from the free throw line off 3 attempts per game. True rebound is at 3 rebounds. His assists is at 4. 3 turnovers a game. 12.6 points per game. I like Scoot. I think something that we kind of didn't take into consideration was how good Anthony Simons was. Them get Malcolm Brogdon is actually that was actually a big pickup too. Getting DeAndre Ayton, having Jeremy Grant there too. Who just got a big contract and who can put up some good numbers too. I feel like it's a lot of chefs in the kitchen over there in Portland, and I don't know what his progression will look like, especially when it's a lot going on over there. What you thinking right now? Because I know you brought Scoot up. How you feeling?
Yeah, so I brought up Scoot. It's kind of similar to K, kind of like a player where not a lot of people talk about. Might not be that much of a notable player. So earlier on, I was pretty high on Scoot, but I found out something about his height. That wasn't what I thought it was. I thought Scoot was like 6'4", 6'5", but
6'1", right?
more. Now he's like 6'2", 6'3". So back in, because I heard about Scoot probably the year before he started into Ignite. So probably out of high school, I remember seeing the kid and I was like, damn, this kid is pretty damn good as far as like what he could do as far as his
Mhm.
photos. I was a big fan. Remember I would take people watch out for this kid's scoop. But once I found out he was a little shorter than I thought he was, I kind of scaled back and the way his game is, got a lot of concerns for Scoop, man. I don't see that I feel like if you're gonna be an inefficient shooter, which he is, he's a pretty bad shooter. He don't compile a ton of assists too. That could be a product of the chefs in the kitchen. Maybe he just not always a person with the ball. Um, but that athleticism is supposed to have been his calling card, and he don't seem to have the motor all of the ball handling to make use of that, man. Like, because you seen when Russell Westbrook was back in the day coming with a kind of being an inefficient player that couldn't shoot, but an athletic guard kind of
Made up for it. Yeah.
but he was playing with so much energy, that kind of made up for it. Scoot don't seem to kind of have that motor, but I don't see how you can survive without being that physically gifted, but not putting it to the test. I understand you probably been hurt and said, man, I ain't about to be flying through here. And but at that point, it's become a mental, kind of a mindset at that point, though. And his athleticism and the mindset don't seem to mesh. And I think that's an issue when you're not shooting the ball. You're probably never going to really project to be much of a shooter. Like I said, it's still early. He's still a young kid. And I kind of blame a little part of that. What we probably talk about at a later date is the whole G League overtime thing, how that's kind of maybe being kind of a detriment than will help to the players. And it looked like he's less further along than I thought he was. Granted, he's still a rookie, but he's got some things that I'm definitely concerned about as far as the type of player that he could be. I know me and my homies. I don't know if we was talking about it too. He's kind of looking like a Dennis Smith player that was kind of a little bit undersized, highly athletic, but didn't really have didn't play the defense or put together the outside shooting to really have his game survive though. So like I said, it's early. He's just a rookie, but Nick Wright was always 100% wrong about Brandon Miller, and I wish he would see. I wish you could pull up a little Nick Wright screen right in here and tell him how wrong he was about that. But like I said, the kid is still young, but I brought him up for that reason of him being somebody that was kind of high out. I was high on, but over time I saw certain things that kind of like kind of hold my horses on how good I think Scoot gonna end up being.
So with Scoot, since it's his first year, I guess I'm gonna have to do the same thing I did with LaMelo and Kay Cunningham, as far as like the production. I need to see. I guess we could just give him a pass, because some rookies have harder than others.
Yes.
And sometimes landing in spots could be it could be a thing. Fit in the system could be a thing. What players on the roster too. So this summer is gonna be real critical for Scoot. Like, it's gonna be real critical for Scoot. I feel like he's gonna have to really fine tune his game, and hopefully he can have a good offseason. Because playoffs start mid-April. He'll be on vacation early, so like he ain't got to worry about that. But shout out to Scoot though. Hope you get it together. Now, last but not least, revisiting Wemby. So what I did was I took the liberty of writing down the projections before the season, and I actually have the numbers, the real numbers, the real in-time numbers. So Wemby's projection was 17 points per game, 8 rebounds, 2 blocks, 45% from the field, 28% from the three-point line. I can't remember if I got those from somebody or I think we came up with those numbers ourselves.
Yeah, we had a good talk about what we thought he would.
That was us, right? Yeah, that was us.
Yeah.
The real-time stats are 20 points per game, 10 rebounds, 3 blocks per game, 46% from the field, 33% from the field goal, 51% field goal attempt percentage. Now I think I told you I was watching the Paul George podcast, and I think they asked Draymond what could he be, and Draymond was like at the very like if all else fails, elite shot blocker. I think Wemby has exceeded expectations just a tad because his numbers are good. And the thing with Wemby is that what people have to realize, from what I can see, is all raw talent. Wemby hasn't really put anything together. If you really break down the game, man, he's playing off pure talent alone. Once he started to get these off seasons under his belt, start getting his strength and conditioning right, really take his time on the game because you so young, you so anxious, you want to do everything so fast in a hurry. And once the game really slows down, that's when I feel like an athlete really like hones in on his skills. The best athletes always say the game got easy when everything slowed down. Once the game slows down for Wemby, I feel like he's an alien for sure. I think that name is fitting for him now. I don't know how big of a narrative this is, and this may be some underground stuff. I'm gonna keep it 100 with you, B8. I don't think his teammates rocking with him like that. I'm gonna just be honest. I noticed this night one. I feel like this is a situation of like, yeah, we got this 7'4", 7'5" phenom, but like, nah, we out here working on our games too, like the Devin Vassell's, the Keldon Johnsons, the Jeremy Sohans, you know. And I just feel like the moment that he really can just take the crown of being like the face of the Spurs. Even though he already is the face of the Spurs, but like really like I just wish he could have like a KG mentality, like give me the ball, you know what I'm saying? Like just because I'm gonna send you this too. I saw a play where Trey Jones, he was running around the court when Wemby was practically begging for the ball. The possession ended horribly, you know what I'm saying? I don't know if they really rock with him like that. I'm not saying it's malicious intent, but it may be some sort of like, yeah, you out here, but we nice too. You know what I'm saying? So what you think about Wemby right now?
Well, I think I might have talked to you about it or like weeks about it because I done seen. I watched a lot of Wemby. That league pass, I'd be locked in on the Wemby. So I noticed some of that what you were saying earlier on. But what I was seeing, well, I think a lot of what's going on that people don't see. I don't think we see how much stuff with Wemby is by design. Like I think there's a lot of stuff going on under the hood with Wemby that maybe that we're not taking into account. I think Wemby is being brought along a specific way. I think him coming here. I think his mama and daddy was on it. I think whoever was on it was coaching him, or I think they came here with particular ways that he's going to be handled. And I think the Spurs and Pop and the whole organization are doing certain things a certain way to handle him. So I think some of that stuff that we see might be a product of that. So like I noticed early on too what you were saying that like them kind of looking off of Wemby. And what I chalked that to was what I was saying earlier on in the season, man. Them dudes, Dan Vassell, Keldon Johnson, like them dudes getting buckets, like they were scoring. So
they're nice.
That was nice. So when they have it going, they kind of keep looking, they kind of keep going. You know, they don't really deviate from him earlier on in the season. I think part of that was pod design too. I think some of that is the Spurs don't want teams to be able to key in on him. They don't want all the attention to him. I think they don't want the dude to be going through his whatever rookiness that you would go through as being a rookie. I think the Spurs just try to suppress that as much as they possibly can because the way they use him has changed over the course of the season. So one thing I didn't know, Wemby been on a minutes restriction for the season. I think he might have like somebody blew on his ankle and that was it. Like when somebody took a little puff on his ankle, he on a minutes restriction for the season. I don't think he played more than 30 minutes. Like unless it might be not a pause in the game for him to go over 30 minutes. So a lot of it is he's been handled in a particular way where
it's 28 minutes, 28, 29 minutes.
Yeah, he out of it regardless. Healthy, maybe 100% healthy, but he on a restriction. He on a particular restriction. So he's not even on the floor all the time like you would think he would be. I noticed that he had a specific pattern when he would come in the game and when he would go out the game. Over the last month or two, it's changed a lot. I see women getting the ball a lot early in the beginning of the games where he just kind of come out, start firing. One thing that's kind of good about Wemby's a hell of a late game player, man. He plays really good late in games, man. I know the Spurs ain't been winning. A lot of times they just getting smoked left and right because it's in the young team. And I think I charge some of that too is even though he can do a lot, sometimes it seems like he just do a little bit too much of everything. So he ain't really dominating and because he's doing kind of spreading his game out of much. I mean, sometimes that could be a little bit of a detriment on both ends of the floor too. Wemby ain't always getting 17, 18 rebounds because he ain't always underneath the rim. Sometimes he leaking out. Some games he more focused on getting rebounds. Sometimes he not. So he's not always keying in on certain things, and even on offense. He ain't always posting up. He ain't always shooting three. He's just kind of doing a little bit of everything, which is good though. But it's not allowing him to be dominant. But at this point, man, we don't know what we got here. So man, let that dude play and however he play. If he's shooting threes, he's shooting threes tonight. I don't really worry about it. But I just look at it as far as his impact and how it just hasn't resulted in wins yet. Because you can pretty much he's still just one player. So wherever he at is probably the weakness is where it's at. So if Wemby's in the paint, then I'm pretty sure there's open 3-point shooters. If Wemby's on the perimeter, I'm pretty sure the paint is open. So you could just easily, because of talent around him, you could just pretty much just go away from him. I mean, there still be people like challenge him. I think I was watching them play the Spurs. I was watching the Spurs play Houston. I seen Jalen Green try to go up on him with some soft ass layup. I'm like, what are you doing, bro? Like, I think he like snatch blocked it or something out of his hand. I'm like, bro, what is you doing? Play away from the kid. But he is everything because he was a foreign player. So a lot of the stuff that it was no footage. So a lot of the stuff that I had on Wendy was hearing and reading about him. And I will say he is everything everyone ever said about him. Whatever, everything that I read or heard about him has been absolutely true. All the stuff that they say he could do, he's done it. I've seen him do it multiple times, whether it's shooting threes, dribbling, snatch blocking, wild looking dunks, everything that you could have read. It's like reading a book and then whatever you read, you go and you actually seen it. And I get from that, man. He's actually everything that I thought he could be. And the sky's the limit for the kid, man. The dude is hella talented. He's just so damn talented. I don't even know what to say, really. Just like keep doing what you're doing. And I will say he's pretty healthy too. I think that's also by design too. I think there's a lot of things that's going into him, but he stayed pretty healthy to be that tall.
Surprised me.
Yeah, he hasn't really had too much of anything, but if he does, they'll whatever part gets sprained, I'm pretty sure they buying new parts. They got spare ankles on deck, man. They got something different going on with Wemby.
I feel like Wemby is like, I don't want to use the wrong like metaphor, but like this will be a crock pot situation for sure. Like we're gonna put it in there, we're gonna slow cook this process, you know what I'm saying? Let me ask you this. Is this far-fetched? When Wemby hits the 65 game mark, if you Popovich, would you shut him down or you just let him get his reps?
I'll let him keep playing.
They'll keep playing?
I'll let them keep playing. Because what they've done so far seems to work. Whatever limitation that they have is as far as because this is just the limitation that we see as far as the minutes played. I'm pretty sure there's a whole setup as far as the way the practices is going and everything. So I feel like the games he still need to get them reps, get them bumps in, get them flights, get your body still get acclimated to playing. So I feel like you ride him out. Play him for the whole season, get him acclimated to playing a whole year because that's how many games is in the season. So if you're healthy, those are the amount of games that you should mostly be trying to play. So I think they should keep him going.
I feel like the sky's the limit for that team. I feel like that's the perfect cornerstone piece. I really feel like they need a real point guard. I'm not no disrespect to like Trey Jones or nothing like that, but I like him more like in the backup role. I really like. Shout out to Cash too. Me and him was saying, well, he was saying that he want Trey Jones to go to San Antonio, and I'm in
Trey Young.
My bad, Trey Young.
That's it. It was talking about that. It was talking about some Trey Young in San Antonio.
I like that a lot, bro. I really do. I like that a lot. They get shooting, they get elite passing, great playmaking. I feel like that'll be good for Wemby too.
Trey's a little different now. Trey is I seen him I'll be kind of down on him, like, as far as like, I don't know, he ain't in the Splash family because he ain't shooting a certain percentage though. I watched some clips or watched little games of Trey. Trey got himself kind of under control to where that man is unstoppable. Like when he got you on the ISO and he's feeling himself and he's going through it, you can't do nothing with him. Like I was watching him. It was a game that was probably a few weeks ago, and he was still shooting those far ass shots though, but his game is a lot more under control now to where like if he got you, you dead. Like you can't do nothing with that little kid. If he once he start getting the space on you, putting his dribble rules together, he ain't playing like out of control or I seen like he getting some maturity to his game to where he gonna be an issue. And so if they can get him in San Antonio, man.
I just would like to see Popovich get a hold of Trae Young. He not. I don't think he would tweak his game to like something drastic, but like the under control aspect that you're speaking from, I feel like he can even do more. He could even do more to that.
Yeah.
I feel like him and Wemby pick and roll, that could be crazy. I feel like the next evolution of Trae Young's game is I don't know if he'll ever get there, but playing off the ball. If he could be effective off the ball,
I think he can be because he's a pretty solid shooter.
yeah, solid shooter. I think he could. I think that'll be nice for him though, man. But yeah, as far as Wemby go, I think that he got the he surpassed the projections, man. 2010, 3 blocks. He even got a steal in there too. 3-point field goal percentage. It'll get better. But it's a long season, and like when you coming from overseas, playing 82 games, it's like this the longest you'll ever play in the season. So it's something to get used to. So I feel like his off season from year 1 to year 2, it'll be critical. I expect him to get like a little more strength in his game.
Yeah.
I feel like some of that raw talent, he'll actually be able to put like real game in there as far as like knowledge goes. Because from a stability standpoint, from like David Robinson, Tim Duncan, Manu, Greg, it's like you got all the resources. You know what I'm saying? And they all were successful. They all played the game at a high level and won at the highest level. So I feel like you have everything at your disposal. You know what I'm saying? So I hope nothing but the best for Wemby. Sad he in my division, but it is what it is.
Oh, yeah.
That's all we got for y'all boys, man. Good hour for y'all, man. B8, I appreciate it, man.
I appreciate you having me on, man. Hopefully we can get another run of topics going.
All right, man. I appreciate y'all. Wait until next time. Peace.
Yo, so I'll catch you, man.
Mm-hmm.